Hey everyone, this is Damiani here, and I am going to be joined by a special guest today, Matthew Simmons.
Oh, special guest, thank you.
Yeah, special guest. Where do you hail from, Mr. Simmons?
You guess you could say I'm from the YoVideoGames crew, Maximilian Dudes, YouTube channel and stream. You know, we started with the Assist Me series, so we kind of got our foot in the internet door from the tutorials we made, which would combine live action with gameplay tutorials for fighting games, and that kind of got us, started and going, and then we sort of grew and sort of branched from there. So now we try to do more everyman streams, and I guess really the more important reason, I guess for me, is that. A big part of it is that I'm not the fighting game guy of the YoVideoGames crew. Now that's our YouTube and stuff like that, but I am the platform RPG guy, and obviously my big love is Zelda. So I play Doctor Doom in this series. If anyone's curious or has seen it, it's fine if you haven't. It's not important.
And Zelda is exactly why we are here today. We are going to be talking about the Zelda DLC. Now, this was announced earlier. We're a little late to the party here, but I don't think either of us have really had a chance to kind of express our thoughts and opinions on the matter. For those of you who are Easy Allies, they talked about it on the podcast earlier this week, which you can now find up. I wasn't on that podcast, but I definitely want to be talking about this. And I don't think Simmons here has put up anything yet either.
No, I haven't. I was kind of meaning to, but I felt kind of now the same way I did when it was initially leaked. Not leaked, I'm sorry. Everything seems to be a leak nowadays. Yeah. It's kind of like, oh my god, it's actually official information now. When the first story broke, I was like of two minds. I felt like kind of mixed on it. And that actually makes it hard when you want to make a discussion of, especially of just yourself, when it's mixed, when you're mixed on a subject, when you don't know how you feel one way or the other. So I think that's kind of one of the interesting issues with this kind of information comes out, and you don't know how you feel. I mean, we'll go into it, I guess.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. I feel like myself, that's how I felt too. I feel mixed about this, and it seems to be kind of the vibe going around. But let's just talk about what happened. So Nintendo announced the first official DLC for mainline Legend of Zelda entry, and they're calling it kind of a season pass.
Yeah, I think they of course they had to come up with their own name, because Nintendo would never ever do something that someone else did, even if they are. They call it the expansion pass. Now I want to point out, this is not the first time Nintendo's done DLC or even early season pass stuff. So they've done it before, but this is the first time we're talking about major Zelda,
yes,
or mainline Mario. I mean, Mario had DLC for New Super Mario Brothers U. It had a pretty good chunk of stuff, but I don't even know if I'd call the New Super Mario Brothers like their biggest. Well, I mean, in sales wise, it absolutely is, but the amount of time that seems to go into, say, New Super Mario Brothers versus Mario Galaxy, 3D World, and now Odyssey, I think it's just one's a higher production, at least by cost, and staff. And so it's, you can see with New Super Mario Brothers, hey, you can add new levels. You have the new Super Luigi U thing. I mean, that seems like different. Like, okay, I can see how that's not too strenuous on the company. But with Zelda, they've never done anything like that, or really anything
of this magnitude.
Yeah, this magnitude.
You can point out Hyrule Warriors that they did.
That wasn't even them though.
Yeah, that wasn't them, and they have been doing this more lately. Like Mario Kart 8 is the one that keeps getting brought up in comparison to the plan they're kind of doing here with the set intervals.
But again, with 2D platforms, and especially with Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, you look at it and you just say, you can see where the DLC is: more tracks, more characters, more fighters than Smash Brothers.
Yes.
It's not a huge stretch to think, how would they add on to this game? With Zelda, though,
yes,
that's a different story. How do you add on to a game like Zelda?
And you said the key word there, story.
Yeah.
That's one of the key components of this.
Right.
So let's go through. Let's explain, everyone, if you've been living under a rock, or you don't follow Zelda or Nintendo stuff.
Or maybe you're on sort of a blackout.
Yes. This isn't spoilers. So none of the stuff we're going to be talking about goes into any spoiler territory. This is basic information. The Season Pass is coming in 3 parts, and the first one will arrive on the launch day of the Switch and Breath of the Wild. It includes 3 new treasure chests that will be found in the Great Plateau area, which we know is the starting area. It will contain useful items and include exclusive in-game clothing.
I think that last one's hilarious because it's kind of funny where they talked about it, I think, in the press release.
Yes.
The clothing is Link can wear a Switch shirt. Which, does that work for the Wii U version, first of all?
Oh,
Is he
yeah.
going to be wearing a sweatshirt in the Wii U version? Like, hey, what? Couldn't find one at launch, stuck with this version. Or will it be a Wii U shirt? But who cares anyways? I find that kind of tacky.
Yeah, they could have put something a little bit more, I guess, tasteful in terms of alternate outfits, like tributes to other Zelda Link outfits.
Like the scarf from Hyrule Warriors or something like cool. that? Or why not...
the different colored outfits. I know they already had that in there, but they could have done like the classic...
He could have done his lobster shirt.
Yeah, throwback to the Wind Waker. They could have done his Ordon outfit.
Ordon outfit. I would have really been... I think the Ordon outfit actually would have fit really well with the game with its highly equestrian setting.
There's others say Nintendo might not do these in the future. They might be holding on to them. But literally the 3 items are, as he said, Simmons covered the Switch logo shirt, which is one of them. And then 2 other chests will deliver useful items, is what they said.
You know what I think that is? I think that's literally just the amiibo shit without the amiibo.
Oh, this stuff?
That's what it kind of reads like. Because Anuma, I think, said in a video that, development was too far along for us to really add a lot of really heavy, useful stuff for amiibos. So, the amiibos just drop these chests full of goodies into the world. It drops this, I forget how it is. Like, someone drops meat, and like someone drops like another item or something like that, or rupees. I don't even think it's rupees, but like, here's a bunch of fish or something dumb like that. Like, I kind of feel that these useful items kind of just feel like, here's a good sword.
Yeah, but one thing to comment on that real quick, the wolf amiibo, Wolf Link amiibo, does look like the most useful, especially if they're going to implementing it the exact same way they show up at E3, because you have a companion with you.
Yeah,
which is really cool. It kind of sucks they're locking it behind it, but
yeah, and then it's like you can only use it for a day or something like that, or if he dies, he's locked out for a certain amount of time.
There's some kind of cooldown restriction on it. He vanishes when you go into a dungeon and you come back out, I believe.
Yeah, which okay, fine with the dungeon part, but I would be totally cool playing the whole game with Wolf Link. Just run around with you. I'm curious, again, I know we're not talking about spoilers, we don't know anything either. I wonder if they're going to try to tie that in story-wise, or if it's literally you just use the amiibo, Wolf Link appears.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, Wolf Link. What?
Yeah, I'm going to lean towards it's just a nice Easter egg nod.
Just
putting in there. Yeah, but we'll see. So that's pretty much part one of the expansion pass. It's nothing significant. It's just there. And this is all it's costing, by the way. I forgot to say this. This is going to cost $19.99 for US dollars. And for those of you overseas, it's going to be $17.99
gold British pound?
Yeah, Great British pound, I think. And then $19.99 euros. So $20 basically.
$20.
Yeah.
$20 is not awful price for DLC, especially not for a season pass. But I think as we're talking to get into DLC Pack 1, as they call it, in summer, that's where I start to have a little bit of, hesitation on it.
Yeah. So list what's actually in DLC Pack 1 coming in the summer.
Adds a new Cave of Trials challenge, which was something that was in Twilight Princess originally. And then they had new hard mode, which this gets real curious, and an additional map feature, which sounds useless as fuck to me. New hard mode's odd. Here's why it's odd. There are lots of enemies in this game that we've seen that can one-shot you. Like the big crab robots or whatever. Mm-hmm. Guardians. I know what they are. But, yeah, my point is that there are lots of enemies that do good damage in the game. So what does a hard mode usually do? Now, here's where I'm a little conflicted about it. A lot of people would say, it's going to be like Master Quest. Here's why I don't think that is. Yeah. Master Quest means completely rearranged dungeons. There's no way Nintendo is rearranging 100, 120 shrines or whatever it is in the game within a couple months, by summer. There's no way they're doing it. And 2, more importantly, if they were going to do a Master Quest style mode, call it hard mode, they would have called it Master Quest. They're not going to call it hard mode if they're going to go in and rearrange every little tiny dungeon or shrine or whatever. There's no way. It's something else. It's something of the fact of it's gonna put more limiting restrictions. Like you're not gonna when you're in a cold area, your warmth will drain rapidly or something. Like you're gonna have to really buff yourself out. Things like enemies will be able to see you and hear you. Like Metal Gear, where all of a sudden their field of vision cone goes from like a little triangle on the screen to like the whole thing in front of them. So that's what I think hard mode's gonna be. It's just gonna enemies will always be able to always be aware of you, or they'll see you and hear you really easily. You'll get hot or you'll get super cold in those extreme climates way faster. I think that's the way I look at it. It's probably gonna be something, and more. They'll probably just throw more enemies into spots, or they'll change enemies. Like they'll turn from bokoblins to like lizardfolds.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Is maybe they'll go like the second quest route, not rearranging the dungeons or anything like that. But what they could do is they could take the existing layout, change the type of enemies you encounter at certain points, make them more difficult. Within the same shrine locations, they might be able to adjust stuff within those.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Master Quest did with the dungeons. They rearranged them, but like that was too. I think that's too much. They could slightly do something like that. But what I'm thinking, the unique thing I'd like to add to this is that maybe the bosses have either an extra mechanic or like hook to them that makes them a little bit more like aggressive.
Yeah,
like basically like a new. Like, I'm thinking of like an MMO style here, where like there are the normal story mode bosses, which are like standard, and then like when you encounter the hard one, not only is it like doing more damage, takes more damage to beat, but they also have like an extra mechanic or phase to them that's kind of cool. Which that would be neat if they could do something like that.
It would be a little unprecedented. Like Nintendo's not traditionally done that.
Yeah.
Usually, excuse me, Zelda bosses are by nature always kind of been gimmicky in a way, like pretty much from Ocarina of Time on, really. I mean, like a little bit of Link to the Past, Link to the Past, but really from Ocarina of Time on, they've all been like shoot here, put bomb here, and they've always been like that. So it would be cool to see them do something where now there's an extra moveset, but then again, that would be Nintendo having to add in extra stuff. Now they are giving themselves a few months, so it could be. So I'll remain hopeful of that, because I think that would be a much better twist on hard mode than just simply here's a bunch of Dynafolds.
Yeah,
and they're just harder to kill, or we placed a couple more Guardian statues that are around. Like it would be nice to see them do something like that, where boss characters now have more animations, more more technique, more attacks. That's kind of like I think that's on the optimistic side, because I'm a very cynical person.
Yeah, I'll concede that I don't think that's going to happen, but I think we're in agreement on two things here. That it better not be just every enemy does like more damage or something like that.
Yeah, and that's a little too easy. And again, if it is just hey, enemies do more damage, that's like, dude, come on, seriously, you're going to ask people to pay money for that?
And we're both in agreement that it's not going to be as comprehensive as Master Quest. We think that's going a little too far.
Well, like not Master Quest, like Ocarina of Time Master Quest.
Yeah.
Because that was complete. I mean, the dungeon geography, the rooms were the same, like the walls were the same, but the dungeons themselves were completely rearranged. Like whole new puzzles, whole new everything, other than just the walls being that. So yeah, I don't think, especially with the number of little shrines and stuff, there's no way it's going to be as robust as a Master. And again, they would have called it Master Quest.
I think they would have called it something else. Like, it's interesting to call it hard mode. They don't call it like hero mode or any. It's just hard mode, which implies the straight difficulty.
Yeah.
Nothing else about it.
Hard mode means like, oh, you're not going to be able to catch horses as easily. Your horse will die faster. You're just, everything is going to be a lot harder to do, which could, in my mind, easily translate to just more irritating to do.
This pack, DLC Pack 1, which is coming summer, with the Cave of Trials and this hard mode, whatever it ends up being, an additional map feature, which they've given no additional information on what that actually means. This is the one that kind of made me feel the most negative, because, as you pointed out, Cave of Trials was in Twilight Princess. Yeah. They had something sort of similar in the Wind Waker. It wasn't as comprehensive. And hard mode has been added into previous games. Some were locked behind, you had to beat the game first. The fact that they're withholding these behind a paywall now was the first time I was really conflicted about this. Reading through this. The first one, like, whatever. That's not worth $20, these extra outfits and items. But then we come to Pack 1. I was like, really? I can't unlock these by just playing the game? This is where I'm really conflicted.
I'll say, to be fair, though, when they added hero modes to games, that was usually in the re-releases of the game. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't add hero. There was no unlocking a difficulty in Twilight Princess. It was in Twilight Princess HD. Yeah, same with Ocarina of Time 3D. Had the Master Quest hard mode was unlocked, but that's not in the original game. It was something they added in the re-release.
Yeah.
So I'll say this: in a way, that was always a paywall, in a sense. You had to buy an updated version of the game, however many years it was later, but it was still kind of a paywall. Now it's in a DLC, but it's going to come out much sooner. So I'll concede one point on being that, hey, it's nice to know that we'll be able to get hard mode within months of the game's launch, not waiting for a re-release years down the road. But again, I'm just slightly making an excuse for it. If they were going to do if they had planned to make a hard mode, and it's going to be within months of the game's release, charging money for that seems a little iffy.
Yeah. But that's not all. There is going to be a third part of this called DLC Pack 2, which will come out in holiday of 2017. And I think this is the most significant part of the expansion pass. It's going to add new original story, a new dungeon, and additional challenges.
Well, the last part, it sounds kind of throwaway. Like, maybe they're... to me, that's like, go to the Gerudo training grounds. Now there's an even harder course for you to do horseback archery on. That's what I think from challenges. The other things, though, this is what everyone would always want when you would say, hey, what would you think about Zelda getting DLC? You want new dungeons and story and stuff like that. You would want that. Now, here's where I think, okay, yeah, this seems worth the money. But here's where I have my biggest conflict with this whole expansion pass. You can't buy this stuff individually.
Yeah.
You have to buy the whole thing. So you get everything, but there's no way to just say, hey, can I just pay $10 or $15 for DLC Pack 2? I really don't care about the other stuff. Nope. You got to buy the whole $20 shebang. I feel that's kind of... there's no... Let me put it this way. There's no benefit to the paying customer to force you into buying all the stuff. Especially when I don't want a Switch shirt. I don't give a crap about that.
Yeah.
This is of no benefit to me getting all this extra crap I don't want. It's only a benefit to you because people are going to plop down that money for that extra dungeon and that new original story.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. To me, it's like they're kind of withholding the good stuff, hostage and making you and pay $20 because the thing is, you look at DLC Pack 2. Is DLC Pack 2 alone worth $20? Like, in your mind?
So it depends on how much story and dungeon are there.
Exactly.
I know people. I personally would say no, it's not worth $20 by what the information that's out there, which is not enough information.
Yeah.
But it could be a third of the game as a story, and a new story could be like as long as a third of the original story, which that's all significant about. And who knows how big or large the dungeon is? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But just based on the bullet points, I'd have to say that looks like about 10, maybe $15 at most in my mind.
So the other stuff is kind of being... Now, a lot of people are going to be totally fine with wanting all of this. And that's great. If all of this sounds like a great deal to you, that's totally fine. But I don't think you can argue that if you're like me and you're like, oh, do I want a hard mode? Do I really care about Cave of Trials? I could live without it and just spend $10, $15 on DLC Pack 2.
Yeah.
I'd be happier with that. Again, it offers no benefit to the customer to lock everything into one clump and say everyone got to pay $20 whether you want it or not. Versus you can buy it all for $20, you can piecemeal it for like $7 a pop, or $8 a pop, and then you'll save some money buying it all at once in one bundle. But yeah, I don't see the benefit to the people who have to actually pay the money by forcing it into one size fits all. Everyone gets everything.
Yeah, there is no benefit to that. You pointed out perfectly. And their precedent before is everything used to come. Like Hyrule Warriors, Mario Kart 8, you could buy the pass, or you could buy, and even in Smash Brothers, you could buy things piecemeal. That was like the beauty of it. You could buy what you want, but if you wanted all of it, they bundle it together and you got some kind of discount.
Yeah.
That discount is not here anymore because we don't know how much each of these would have been individually because they're not doing that. This is strictly, they're trying to hook you on something in DLC Pack 1 or 2 they're hoping is going to lure you in and you're going to pay the full $20. And I think that's what a lot of people are thinking at that point. The one thing I will say about DLC Pack 2 that you haven't said is I don't find it as offensive that they're adding a new dungeon and story. Because the whole argument is like, why wasn't this in the original game? Was stuff already done and just worth holding it? Is it's not coming out to holiday, which is like 6+ months after the release of the game.
When you say holiday 2017, that means they're still working on it.
Yeah.
That to me, that's like, okay, cool, new story and dungeon. That's probably stuff they're going to work on all summer long. So to me, that doesn't come off as recent deal. Like I'm going to put it right now. RE7's DLC, like was 7 days after the game came out. Here's some DLC for $10, and then 2 weeks later, more or less, was like, here's DLC Pack 2, $15.
Yes.
So to me, that was disgusting. Like as far as shadiness goes, like if a game has story DLC, or even if it's a little bit of story, tiny bit. If it's coming out 7 days from the game's release, that was done. That was absolutely done. RE7's DLC up to this point was absolutely 100% for sure done before that game came out.
And if it wasn't done, and some people like to argue, it wasn't done just in time for it to go print for when it went gold, so it couldn't be included on, then you offer that stuff free as DLC. Yeah. Like, okay, we're sorry, we did need another week or two to polish up this last part, but like it's going to come to you as DLC and it's going to be free. Yeah. When they're charging for it, it means it was intentionally
Which is
done.
so bizarre because they have free DLC coming for RE7.
Yeah.
Later on, which to me is so bizarre that that's coming way later, and then they charge you for all this stuff up front that was pulled off the disc. Maybe not pulled out, never put on the disc, but was done more or less. Yeah. Like put it that way. Because here's the thing: like, this Zelda's $20. That RE7 DLC is $25, and this looks more robust than that DLC for sure. And that's the thing. I'll give Nintendo a little bit of credit, just in prove I'm not like completely against them, but they've been pretty nice about their DLC pricing. I feel they've been fair for the most part with most of their games on how much they charge with their DLC.
Yeah,
so all of this for $20 is actually not a bad price, but it is still more than I would pay and more than I want. Than I wanted. So, but like you said with Smash Bros was perfect because you could piecemeal it character by character or like set of characters or a set of stages. You just want a stage bundle. I don't want the new characters. I just want the new stages. You could do that. There was all those things you could do with it, and I honestly feel Smash Bros did it great. It kind of sucks that it's like this is here's everything. But you know what's funny? This reminds me, and I don't think anyone's gonna. Well, okay, there'll be some people, I'm sure of your listeners who knows. Does this not remind you of Satellaview a little bit?
Oh, of the broadcasting out the
Zelda broadcast and ancient stone tablets.
Well, the thing is, that was like a subscription service, and you weren't paying per the maps, and you just had to wait the time and to get like the new one every week. They broadcast a new one. So if there was a Nintendo subscription service where you just like paid a monthly fee and you just got access to all the DLC in general, I would probably be like more for this. Because it's like some kind of like, if that was part of like the online thing.
Now here's my question. Did the Satellaview, when you paid the subscription service, was that for every single thing?
I'm not 100% sure. I just remember Zelda that you had to pay to the, crap, I'm forgetting the name of the company that you had to pay for the service.
Satellaview, I think.
But the owner, okay. I'm forgetting it. It was what BS stand for, Bandai, and someone else.
Satellite or something like that.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was a subscription. It was not piecemeal. It wasn't like...
Basically what I'm saying is you owned the Super Nintendo and you paid for that subscription service for Satellaview. That paid for every single Satellaview, not just Zelda, but for everything. Yeah. So it paid for everything. So you're saying it'd be like PSN, Xbox Live, Nintendo Network. It'd be fine if DLC was kind of included in part of this like Nintendo Network packaging. Plus
if they had a $29.99 a month or whatever amount they feel is fair, and let's say Zelda's coming out in March. If you're paying that, not only you get access to playing online games, like online features, you get access to this, and then when Splatoon comes out, you get access to DLC. But they could also sell it as an individual fee. Like that could be their piecemeal. Well, if you just want the Zelda one, it's going to cost you $20. But if you're paying $29.99, just $10 more, you get access to so much more than just Zelda. Like that could be a good sales pitch. But anyway,
it just reminds me of that because the thing is, like I said at the start, Zelda's never had anything like DLC related, sort of. But I did want to point out that the really, really obscure Super Nintendo Ancient Stone Tablet sequel to Link to the Past that a lot of people don't know a sequel to Link to the Past officially exists. I'm not talking about Link Between Worlds. I mean, like, you're a kid or a boy, like a boy or a girl who...
It was the mascot from the service.
Yeah, and you get sent to Hyrule of Link to the Past, and it's after Link to the Past is over. Now, interestingly enough, I think that one let you choose your gender, but...
Yep. Yeah, it was because there was 2 characters for it. Like, there were 2 mascot characters, so I think...
What would you want for original story if it was up to you? Like, what are you hoping for?
So, the thing I keep seeing tossed around, because, again, I'm trying to avoid as much information about this game at this point. I have seen a few people talk about how maybe it, in theory, we don't know anything's firm, so this isn't spoilers, that maybe it's playing as Zelda. Yeah. Like, maybe, like, they're thinking back to Skyward Sword, where those segments where you didn't see what Zelda was doing, when you see the ending credits in Skyward Sword, they filled that in the credits. Maybe this lets you play as Zelda during certain parts where they're not going to fill it in, or it's just cutscene only, and the dungeon is like a dungeon for Zelda, or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that could be cool. I don't know how cool I am, though, with them holding out behind a paywall after the controversy over not why Link has to be a guy and you can't play as a female. Well, they hold it.
That's my thing, because if you're playing as Zelda during segments from the story, what's Link going to do?
Good joke. Yeah, what's Link's purpose then?
What would Link do?
Maybe he's sleeping. Maybe it's a prequel. Maybe it's while Link's asleep in the chamber or whatever.
Yeah. You know what? And I've always thought this would make an interesting game. I thought this years before any of the current games were doing it, but I would love to have seen a Zelda game that did like a 3 sides thing with Link, Zelda, Ganondorf, where it's like you play through different areas of the world maybe, but is from seeing each person's side of something. Make it like this interesting, like, I don't want to say Game of Thrones, but, just the idea of like, it's a conflict where you see both sides of it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I always thought that would have been a little more interesting, something along those lines. So... My fear for the new original story is that it's going to be mostly just like a flashback cutscene. Like, you'll unlock some story, say, you do the new dungeon, which unlocks a look into the past, and you get like a little movie after beating the dungeon, and that's all it really amounts to. Could you imagine, like, how would that strike you there? That's probably, I think that's worst case scenario.
Yeah, that'd be a little cheap on their part. They did that. My worst fear, this might not be yours and other people's. My worst fear is, because I've been waiting for this game for so damn long. On March 3rd, all the crucial story to enjoy the game and know the full resolution better be in that game. If I have to wait for this new original story for answers to shit, I'm going to be so upset. I'm going to be so upset about, not just because I have to pay for it, but I have to wait 6 more months. It's
ouch.
That's my fear. It might end up being good.
It ain't going to be 6 months. You're going to be waiting like 8 months for it.
It might end up being good in the end, but like I'm just terrified about that. That you get to the ending like, oh, there's a cliffhanger, or there's something not resolved that you really want to know about. Come back in DLC Pack 2. We'll have the answers for you.
Or maybe if they leave like some little after credits teaser thing, then you have to wait till the holiday to resolve the story. And then it won't be resolved then, because the expansion pass 2 will come out next year.
Stop.
And that'll really resolve
Nope.
it. This Zelda game took too long. We need to stretch it out as much as possible, because Switch may not get its own original Zelda game because this one took so long. So it might be another dual console release by the time we get to the next Zelda game after Breath of the Wild.
I just want it to be side story stuff that is just maybe talking about we're obviously meeting new characters in this game. If you've watched any of the more recent trailers, there's other characters besides Link and Zelda that seem like they're going to play an important role. Maybe get to play as them. Maybe get to see more about that. Side story stuff, I'm okay with for filling in like gaps in the existing story. But resolution-wise or significant, important core story stuff better not be withheld to that.
I wouldn't mind if it was, say, okay, imagine let's pretend this was Twilight Princess, and it was getting a DLC for Twilight Princess. I would have been cool if when they made that game and they didn't just hand it out to a Z-list developer to just redo textures and nothing else like they did with Twilight Princess HD. But if they were really doing it right by Twilight Princess HD and really redoing the game, have a DLC where it's like, we're going to have, like you said, original story and dungeon, but it's this fill in the gap between Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time era to Twilight Princess era. Like a fill in the gap to capturing Ganondorf and imprisoning him. Wouldn't that? I think that would have been that would have been an awesome original story fill in the gap.
Yeah, like backstory type someone would be really cool. Like
not crucial to playing Twilight Princess or understanding a story, but if they did that, and if this game were to do the same thing, I'd be fine with that. Like, hey, we find out the game takes place, directly after Fourth Sword's adventure or whatever. Yeah. Something really crazy like that, and you're like, what? Why? And then they're like, oh, well, we'll explain that later.
Yeah, like, what if the backstory, the new original story is the 100 years ago stuff? Like, we're obviously probably going to see that in cutscenes, but maybe you get to play that part. I'm just thinking about, like, other Zelda games, like, what original story DLC they could have done, like, The Wind Waker. They could have had a sequence where you play as, like, Tetra and her pirates and stuff. Or the extra dungeon would have been the cut Jaboon dungeon that they didn't put in there. Or for something like Ocarina of Time, you get to play as Sheik in the stuff where you don't. What was Sheik doing during your adult Link stuff before when Sheik doesn't meet you?
Apparently, there's an old rumor long ago that Retro was going to do a Sheik game. It got canceled.
I remember that.
But I still wish that was happening this day. Like, I mean, how crazy would that be though if they ever did resurrect that idea? I'd be totally fine with Retro trying that.
That'd be great to try something like that, something new. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like our like little hopes and fears of the original story. I definitely think it's the most enticing and interesting part of all this DLC.
The problem with it is, as we pointed out, it can kind of go either way. So we could be getting our hopes up for something really big, and then it comes out, and again, it's just here's a dungeon, here's a cutscene at the end of the dungeon, tells you this little story back thing that like it's not going to be a new land. They're not adding to the size of Hyrule because they would have said it. Again, they wouldn't just say new dungeon, new original story and not mention new area to explore. If there was going to be there's not going to be a new area to explore. I think that's probably the sort of like scariest part about it is it says story and dungeon, not new area. And this game is, from what we can tell and what they kind of seem to hint at in all the interviews, it's all about the open world. And to be Reggie a bit, it's all about the open world. It's all about the experience. We're going to offer you the greatest Hyrule experience ever. Like, that's what it's all about. That. So we've not seen anything. I mean, especially if you're like us, you're not really delving into much beyond E3. Just the shrines and stuff. So, which to me again seems they all were pretty small. At E3, they're all really short. Maybe they'll get bigger in the new game and the finished game. But yeah, like that's the only part that's where I'm a little worried. Just because it says new dungeon, new original story, when the game is so focused on overworld. Is that new dungeon going to be in the overworld, or is it going to be like, hey, here's this airship in the sky, or here's a portal, step into it. Now you're in. Yeah,
like is there going to be a part of the map you get to? You're like, oh, it's obvious there should have been a dungeon here. Yeah. Oh, that's where that dungeon's
something
going.
Sticks out like at the edge of the map somewhere, and it's like, what? Shouldn't there be something here? Oh, but there is. But you gotta wait.
It'd be funny if they have a message. If you find the entrance, and they give you a message saying, like, alluding to, oh.
Or what would be really funny is, okay, it's not funny at all, but would be hilarious if, because the Wii U has been homebrewed, if someone dug into the game and found stuff in this DLC pack. Maybe it's not finished, but it's there's clearly work been done already.
I mean, the existing, not pack, but go into the Wii U's code, or
probably
the Wii U version. People can dig through and see that there's like assets or stuff already in place for the dungeon.
Like, hey, there's this nearly done dungeon, but it's not quite finished. This is kind of interesting. Like that, we'll find out because the Wii has been broken. But they're unlike the original Wii. The Wii U does not have the sort of drive by the modding community the way that the Wii did. Yeah. So, but I think that's going to be real show and tell, as if Nintendo covered their tracks on it, if they did have anything on disc. Because my hope is that I see DLC Pack 2 and I see Holiday 2017, and I think they're not even really working on it. They're going to start working on it in like April or something, or they're going to take a break and they'll come back and they'll start working on it. That's my hope. But you never know, though. I mean, it's possible.
Real quick, clarification. It is in the press release. The Switch shirt It says right here, the expansion pass will be available for both Nintendo Switch and Wii U versions of the game and are identical.
So you get a Switch shirt.
You're probably getting a Switch shirt.
You get a Switch shirt in the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild.
They're getting you a Wii U version, so they want you to buy a Switch. They want to remind you, Wii U users, that you could be playing this on the Switch right now.
To be honest, though, I don't know how you... I mean, obviously you feel... you pre-ordered the Switch and all that jazz. That killed it for me. When I read on... Because I saw the conference, we were live streaming it at twitch.tv, Maximilian_dude, there's my plug. When we were watching the live stream, and then I checked Nintendo of America's Twitter, and it said Wii U version will come out same day. That ended the Switch for me, right then and there. Like that was like, well, okay, yeah. I really don't need a Switch right now. I wanted a Switch for Zelda, and and there's a little off subject of the expansion pass, but I have not seen enough in the Switch version of Breath of the Wild to really make me feel that this is worth 6 times the investment, because that's what it is. It's $60. American, where we are, for a Wii U version of Breath of the Wild, or $360 for Switch and Breath of the Wild on Switch. So to me, it's $60 to $360. I'm like, is it really worth 6 times more money to have maybe sometimes more stable frame rate? Yes, the resolution's a little higher, but going from 720p to 900p, that's not huge. And I don't game on a wall size monitor, so it's even less of a noticeable jump for me.
Yeah, I think the benefit is, I think Nintendo probably just decided that Breath of the Wild has been in development for so long and they probably looked back at what they did with Twilight Princess, and they saw that, yes, delaying Twilight Princess after the Wii version did help the Wii sales, but ultimately it was probably in their best interest to give everyone the option of how they want. They want people to play Breath of the Wild. Yeah. They obviously its marketing is pushing it heavily towards the Switch version, which is them just doing their due diligence to try and get you to buy the Switch version. But both versions are there, day and date, on March 3rd. They just want everyone to be playing Zelda. And there's going to be a lot of positive vibes probably around the Switch. Already is. A lot of buzz. Switch is sold out. They did their job this time. They didn't need to do the stagger thing. They bet right this time. And everyone's going to be happy.
True,
like people like you're going to be happy. You're like, I don't have to buy a Switch.
I really don't.
and it's like you can buy it whenever you want to eventually. Yeah. And that's fine. I think they did, whether they planned it or they just rolled the dice on it, they got it right this time.
I almost wonder if it's because the Wii U is so dead at this point. And it was weird how the Wii U was kind of dead for a long time. It's been dead for over a year. And people don't like it when you say that because they're like, oh, lots of great games came out last year, nobody bought them. Like, after Star Fox Zero came out in April, that was it. The Wii U was done. You're not going to sit there and tell me that Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games or Color Splash were any significant amount of releases. And I hate to break it because I know there's probably lots of fans, but Tokyo Mirage Sessions, however you feel about the game, was never going to light the sales world on fire no matter what. So the Wii U's kind of just been lagging around. And I feel that Nintendo probably is like, look, if anyone has a Wii U and can't get a Switch, fine. They can at least give us money this way. But as you said, it's sold out. They're not losing Switch sales.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think from the buzz of the launch, at least until Mario Kart 8 or even Splatoon 2 for that matter, the Wii U is probably going to do well for at least into May or June,
And just it's more evident by this DLC or the expansion pass. It's being offered, as you said at the beginning, on both Wii U and Switch.
Yeah,
they're supporting both versions. It would have been weird if only one version got this DLC.
Yeah,
they just want. It goes back to the same, like what I was saying, that they just want you to play Zelda one way.
I'm just kind of shocked that they're not stiffing the Wii U version. One, they didn't stiff the release date like they did with Twilight Princess on GameCube. They're not stiffing them on the expansion pass. They could have easily just said, the expansion pass is only for the Switch. Sorry, you want to see all the extra stuff, you got to buy the Switch version. They could have easily done that, but they didn't.
I think they just wanted to make everyone as happy as possible because it's such a good vibe right now with Switch and Zelda that don't give fans any ammunition at this point. Just do it. Even if it's gonna eat some cost because they have to port it to Wii U, whatever. Just make it happen.
Maybe a more not sinister, but more darker way of looking at it is they need to make their money back on this game.
Oh, that's there too.
Because the budget for this game's probably gone way over, and the obviously the timing of this game's release has been way past when it was supposed to be. We are coming in. We are landing 2 years behind schedule.
This
on
is
Breath of the Wild. So
I forget exactly when, but in terms of being publicly known, this is the longest development time and time between mainline entries in the history of Zelda. It is by a few months. It is beating out Ocarina of Time from the release of actually, if you go from the release of Link's Awakening, which we still count that as a mainline one, even though it was on portable.
Yeah, but he was the main team making it. There was no...
That was over 5 years. It has been over 5 years since Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
But the people are going to point out, there was a Link Between Worlds. There was Triforce Heroes.
Yeah.
And
Triforce Heroes, Majora's Mask 3D, all that, those were Grezzo, first of all. Like, Link Between Worlds was Nintendo, but as Numa's even said recently, it is a different team. It is more of a portable team for the game. I'm sure there's some carryover in staff, but for the most part, their teams are actually split between console and portable. But yeah, I mean, I think more important, too, is they were insistent on 2015 for this game in 2014. Because when they first showed it at E3, and then they showed it at the Game Awards, where Anuma and Miyamoto were just playing the game on the gamepad, and they were running through the fields on the horse. They were insistent. He was insistent that was going to come out before Star Fox in 2015. Neither of those came out in 2015.
Neither of those came out.
This is coming out in 2017. This is probably, I would say, the most officially delayed Zelda game. Because Zelda games have suffered delays, but officially they were hard on that stance on 2015 for 6 months. More than 6 months. Then it ended up becoming, no, next year. No, the year after that. This is a very delayed Zelda game. So, doing the expansion pass for both systems, launching the same day on both systems, I feel it is a very much like we are going to cast the widest net possible, which is why there's 2 limited editions, special editions of the game, because there's no way that extra stuff... There's no way the things in those limited editions are costing that much from a production line standpoint. They are there to make back the money of this game. This is Nintendo's Final Fantasy 15.
They are really milking it. And I'll concede real quick, Ocarina of Time might have been the longest in development thinking about it. But yes, Ocarina of Time and this game have had the most delays.
Yeah, but I don't think they were insistent on a specific day or even year for Ocarina. It was always...
It kept just bouncing around and stuff. It was
kind of
weird.
It'll come out then. They were insistent on this being 2015.
But they are milking the heck out of this. The multiple collector's versions.
Yeah.
Now there's 3 versions of the strategy guide.
I was going to ask you about that. I saw a hardcover today for $80.
It's not coming out till the end of March. I did pre-order that today. But there's a collector's edition and a standard edition. They're just going nuts with this thing. And just with Switch in general. But anyway, the DLC is just another way they're trying to get you to pay more money. It's happening. It's the first time a major Zelda game is having significant DLC for it. And I guess my question to you now is, are you going to buy this expansion pass or not?
I'm taking what's called the wait and see approach. I'm going to see what original story and dungeon means before I do that, because like I said, it's got to be worth $20. And now I'm kind of placing the burden on DLC Pack 2. It has to be worth $20 for me, because Cave of Trials, I wouldn't mind playing through that, but everything else from all the DLC on this thing, I don't care about any of it but the dungeon and story. Mostly the dungeon. I don't have faith in this game's story. I am all about that new dungeon.
I'm hoping summer means after E3, because I'm on the same boat as you, or I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
I want more information. I'm probably going to buy it no matter what, but at least I'm going to wait until I have some more information. I don't care about the March 3rd stuff. I don't care about a Switch shirt. I don't care about the 2 extra useful items or whatever. I'm already going to have amiibo stuff that I'm going to be able to use. That's enough for me. So once we get closer to DLC Pack 1's release in summer, and hopefully have more information about it, that's probably when I'm pulling the trigger to buy it.
Yeah.
And that's when I'll probably support it. I am not buying it ahead of the game. I am not buying it in time for the March 3rd stuff.
Yeah, because again, who cares about a shirt? A shirt and probably like a nice broadsword. Probably.
Yeah,
That's probably what it is. It's probably just a sturdier weapon.
Probably be, it'll be interesting.
You have any temptation to just run to Ganon at the start of the game?
Probably after I beat the game, I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
Like, that's my plan, is to play through it normally, not try that shenanigans. Second, like, after I finish it, whatever there is for me after that, or start a new file, I'm going to try and just, like see how fast you can get there for fun.
know some streamer somewhere is going to beat that game within a half hour of it coming out.
There's some people.
Someone who's going to be pretty good. He's just going to get in there and just beat Ganon real fast. Like they said you could.
Yeah, there's always people who will try that. There'll probably be people who be even faster than that, and then like, oh, I found a way to like skip over the barrier or something, something like that. But yeah, I think that's the approach. It sounds like we're both gonna wait for the DLC for some more information. Although I'm 100% sure I'm gonna buy it at some point. I just, it'll be nice to have more information, and I'm gonna wait till the summer DLC pack 1, the second part of it. Sounds like you're going to do a complete wait and see until you have all the information, especially about
pack too. Because I mean, nothing of that. I mean, Wii U's dead after this game comes out, and it's already dead. But I'm thinking though that the summer, like not so much a holiday, but the summer thing, I think that's kind of a strategic release because the Switch has a sort of blank summer. It has Splatoon 2, I think, is summer, and then what? Summer is 3 months. Then Splatoon 2 is going to come out whenever, but I think that DLC Pack 1 is basically being made to sort of put something on the Switch because I think we're already starting to see a release gap right there. Because like, okay, launch with Zelda, Mario Kart next month, ARMS in May, I'm guessing. Splatoon, the DLC Pack 1 or Splatoon 2, one of them will come somewhere between like the beginning of summer and one will be at the end of summer. So like somewhere June, July will be one of them and July, August will be the other. And then we get into fall where we get Fire Emblem Warriors and Mario Odyssey and not Xenoblade 2. I still don't believe that game's coming out in 2017. I don't even want to say... I can't even say Xenoblade 2 and 2017 in the same sentence. Which is funny, though, because Reggie name-dropped that twice during the Switch interview. Yeah, it's coming out this year around these great... I'm like, there's no fucking way.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I'll believe it when I see it. But man, Zelda and Xenoblade in the same year is kind of like, whoa. That's too good to be true. Not true.
All right. To wrap this up, my final question then, since we just said if we're going to get it or not, is when do you think we're actually going to get the full details of this? Do you think they're going to do a direct for this, or do you think they're going to wait till E3?
I think E3 will see the Cave of Trials and probably see a little bit of video footage on that. It'll be a direct sometime in like September, October when they talk about DLC Pack 2.
Okay, so they're not gonna reveal all at once then, in your opinion.
Yeah, I think they're gonna piecemeal even the expansion pass. The information will be piecemeal.
They did it they've done that before with the other games that they've done this with. Smash, Mario Kart 8.
Hyrule Warriors was like, hey, Marin's coming to the game, and I'm like, fuck, I have to buy that game now. And I did, but they didn't talk about the other DLC characters till way later, and they did. I mean, I learned my lesson the hard way enough just after getting Marin. Like, I would never put any more money into that game. But yeah, like they did that with Hyrule Warriors. I think that's a good example.
Do you think if this does well enough, not just the game sales, but the expansion pass sales, do you think we'll see a season 2? Like, do you think they'll support this game into 2018, or do you think this will be the end?
I don't think this expansion pass is the judge for it. I think it will. Nintendo's already decided if there will be an expansion pass 2, and it's already made moves for it, or it's decided it's not going to, and this is just going to be it.
Okay.
And even if this does sell amazing, I think they're just going to move on to the next game.
Okay, so yeah, even if it does well, and they already don't have a plan for it, it will not sway them.
I think somewhere at an executive level in some creepy dungeon in Kyoto, they've already decided whether or not there's going to be an expansion pass 2 or not. Although, again, I will never let you hear the end of it if they do make the game. Teaser at the end of the credits for DLC Pack 2. Play DLC Pack 2. Teaser at the end of that. Wait till expansion Pack 2 to get the real ending to Breath of the Wild.
Nope. All right. So once again, thank you for joining me, Matt. And
no problem.
Let us know, let you viewers or listeners know where they can see you and your guys' work at again.
Yeah. So I mean, the big main Twitch channel is twitch.tv/Maximilian_dude. I'm there on the weekends. That's when we do like our other games. I do my own RPG platformer stuff on Twitch on Assist Me Doom, one word, Assist Me Doom. And then all of this stuff, if you just want to see our backstory stuff, you can go to youtube.com/YoVideoGames. Like, honestly, if you Google Yo Video Games, you'll find my podcast, our YouTube channel, our fan films we did for like Mortal Kombat X, where we did a full-length Alien movie, we did a Predator movie, Jason movie, we did official stuff for Capcom. We've done stuff on Microsoft for Killer Instinct, stuff like that. All that jazz. You can find, just Google Yo Video Games. You'll figure it out.
All right. Yeah, so if you found any of that interesting, that you know where to check it out. And of course, we here we're Easy Allies. You can support us by going to patreon.com/easyallies. Any amount you give us helps us make this content, lets us bring it to you each week, each month. You can check out all of our archive content and shows on youtube.com/easyallies. And we have a website, easyallies.com, where all the information, the schedule for our Twitch broadcasts, show releases, discussion forums, you can catch it all there on all of our social media links. So again, thank you again for joining me, Simmons.
All right, thank you.
And let us know. Give us feedback on what you thought about this, because this is something I would like to keep doing with the focus on the Zelda stuff. So until later, see you all, and love and respect.